was the most exhilarating moment of my life. 24th of September 2023, less than 4 months ago, at Pontevedra, Spain, in the Triathlon World Championships. As I heard the announcer, crossing the line, we have Hilary Briggs, taking second place in her age group. Yay, silver medal, wow! Now, some of you might be thinking, what, not gold? Was it an Ironman? Are you the only woman that's done this? Well, let me be totally upfront. I came second. It was a standard distance triathlon, meaning 1,500 metres swim, 40k bike, 10k run. And there were 39 of us on the start list in my age group. So no, not unique. However, here's some food for thought. I was just shy of my 62nd birthday. I'd never done competitive sport apart from one half marathon many moons ago. I'd not done a triathlon till 7 years before. And I'd had a massive Achilles injury en route, which actually threatened my ability to walk properly. Now, we're here today talking about creativity through adversity. And I'd love to share with you the 3 most important learning points for my journey. And I'll reveal a crucial mindset shift that will help you to use adversity to power beyond your wildest expectations. Sound good? Yes. Now, I'm standing here today partly proving that you don't need to be a superhero to do this. But that means there are no excuses. Every one of you here could improve some aspect of your life beyond your expectations if you want to. And remember, I'm 62. It's never too late. Bit of background. Now, I've always been pretty fit and keen on long-distance walks, cycling holidays, that sort of thing. In a nutshell, seeking out physical challenges. I trained as an engineer, and I loved to apply those problem-solving skills to figuring out how on earth to tackle some of these challenges I embarked on. As an example, 15 years ago, I had the idea, why not do the Pennine Way? It's a long-distance walk in northern England, 268 miles, 430 kilometres in 10 days, because that's all the time that my friend and I had available. Most people take about 3 weeks. So fairly soon I started to put my engineering approach to breaking the challenge down, and in particular, how to build my strength and stamina to do an average 43 kilometres a day, carrying kit, and be able to get up the next day and do it again and again. Result, we did it. Yay! Now, afterwards, and obviously dining out on the experience for a bit, some friends were very open and said, Hilary, that's the kind of challenge I could live without. And maybe you are one of those sorts of people. And that's fine. What I would urge, though, is that you seek out something as a challenge that will be strong enough to allow you to do the equivalent. It doesn't have to be a physical challenge. So back for me, the triathlon was an extension of that process I'd already got going. It was another physical challenge, but it was about breaking it down. Okay, how do I do this? June 2016, Eastbourne on the south coast of England was my first event. And I had truly lofty objectives. Finish and don't be last. I came 6th out of 7 in my age group. Yay! And I was faced with adversity right at the start of that event with the swim. Imagine this, 60 people in the sea together with waves, with strong currents, trust me, it's mayhem. And fairly soon, lifeguards were pulling people out as they got exhausted, drank too much seawater. It was a tough experience, but not so bad to put me off. And there were learnings from that adversity. Not only did I need to improve my swimming technique, but I needed to seek out harsher training grounds, such as the North Sea. And it leads on to my first key learning point, motivation. If you want to improve at something, your motivation is going to have to be strong enough to overcome whatever adversities are more than likely to come your way. Otherwise, you won't get access to those learnings. The motivation. Now, soon after that, I was faced with a much more severe adversity. A stupid fall off the bike in February 2017, my fault, combined with an old injury and a failure to do proper strength training, meant that my Achilles was wrecked. I mean, I did such a good job, they had to replace it. And I heard the physio, if you don't follow the steps I give you, you might not walk properly again. Okay, I could tell you, that moved my motivation way up. And sometimes, when we're faced with adversity, it can be overwhelming. So many things. Where on earth do I start? And I've got a tip for you for those sorts of situations. Get all of the worries, potential actions, thoughts out of your head and onto a big piece of paper. Whether you mind map, whatever technique you use, get it out on the head. And then stand back. And with a cup of tea or coffee, look at what you've got. Is there anything obvious that jumps out as somewhere to start? If not, pick one thing. And here's the beauty. 5 minutes a day. Get that? Just 5 minutes a day working on that task. Over 3 months, you'll be amazed at what you can do. Need to be consistent, but again, doesn't need to be perfect. 95% is going to get you there. And even if that's not as fast as you like, in my book, slow progress is progress. And so it was with my Achilles. I was in a boot and on crutches 4 months, then just with a stick. In total, 18 months before I was able to get back to running and cycling. Now, during that period, there was clearly lots of adversity, but what it taught me was, thanks to the physio giving me instructions, I made lots of notes. I did the exercises religiously. Bus stops, train stations became my pop-up gyms. Remember the 5 minutes? Use it. And the adversity really taught me the importance not only of the discipline, but of actually doing the right things. That's strength training, which I'd not done before. And that leads me on to the second key action. Actually learning. Action. If you want to improve something, you've got to take action. Otherwise, nothing is going to happen. So back to my triathlon. Well, the first event back after injury was September 2018. And in the triathlon, there are what we call transitions between the swim and the bike and the run. They often don't get the attention of the main elements, but the clock is ticking. My first transition that morning, well, let's say this. I took a whopping 15 minutes, double what most other people took. It was cold. I had a nice, snazzy Lycra top ready to put on. Fortunately, it was soaked by the torrential rain, and it got stuck halfway over my head. My hands, freezing from the swim, weren't able to tie shoelaces or do the buckle on my helmet. I was getting more and more flustered. And to use a vivid Northern English expression, it was a complete shed collapse. But again, reflecting on that adversity, I could see I needed to improve my kit, stretchy laces, all sorts of things. And I needed to seek out ways to practice. Now, I'd heard of athletes practicing their transitions, and to be quite frank, it sounded like a lot of faff. But my creativity kicked in. I thought, hang on a minute, I'm wet every day in the shower. What if I set up my transition zone in the bathroom? Yay! And so that's what I did. And now, 30 days before a major event, I'm practicing, coming wet out of the shower. I've got my bike shoes, helmet, running shoes, other stuff in the bathroom. I run the sequence against the stopwatch. Now, when I said 4 months ago, World Championship, I got second place. I only got that by 11 seconds. And when I looked at the race data, I was amazed. I was only there because I was 2 minutes, 5 seconds faster than a third place lady in the transitions. That shed collapse from 2018, combined with my crazy practice in the bathroom, powered me beyond the adversity and my wildest expectations to a silver medal at the World Championships. But back to 2018. I was signed off by the physio at this stage. However, I carried on with the action of her exercises. And in 2019, I came first in my age group in a couple of events. Wow, it was amazing. And I was just flabbergasted. I started to hear about Team GB, international events. I thought, could I possibly qualify? It just seemed so far-fetched. Bit of work online on the internet. I could see I needed to be sub 2 hours 40 to be competitive. At that stage, I was taking about 3 hours 10. So my new challenge became how to get 30 minutes or more off my time. Bit by bit, I built a team of coaches because I didn't know that some of they did. And the engineer, I got my gadgets. Which takes me on to the third key learning point, measurement. You need, if you want to improve, to be able to measure what happened as a consequence of the action you took. Now, when we're talking measures, we're looking at something that's tangible, objective. And it's what I love about sport. There's all sorts of ways of measuring a performance. Time, speed, power, weight. Ultimately, did you win or not? Now, the kind of gadgets that I use in my triathlon training, I've got, for instance, power meters on the bike pedals. Now, that allows me, as I'm pedaling, I get a display on the bike computer in front of me that's helping me understand what good pedaling actually feels like in the moment, which makes it easier to replicate, do it for longer. I've copied that approach for my swimming. I've got some geeky goggles that I came across which have got a head-up display, believe it or not. So as I'm swimming, I'm getting the information. I don't have to wait to get it from the watch at the end when I've probably forgotten exactly what I was doing. So how could you measure your performance against your challenge? Sometimes when we measure performance, it may not be what we want, and that can be disappointing. Point is, though, to engage with reality. What do you want to do about that? As an example, in a race earlier last year, the European Championships, I came up in the bike section, I caught up a lady, and I thought, I knew on paper she was a better runner than me. I needed to get well ahead. Pushed past, not literally, but and I get ahead. 2 minutes later, though, going uphill, she flies past me. Whoosh! Adversity, here we go. I had a choice in that moment. Give up or give it a go. And you know, my creativity kicked in, and I imagined I was being chased by a lion. Would you put in a bit more effort if you were being chased by a lion? Or would you think, oh, too bad. Going to be lunch with a lion. I tell you, I just threw everything. This could be coming off. I threw everything. Squeezed every sinew I'd got, well out of my comfort zone. Pushed on the bike, kept pushing, and in the end, I won by 10 minutes. Gold medal. However, the thing that really struck me was just how much more I'd got within me. I wasn't hanging about on the bike when the lion started chasing, but it was just how much more I'd got. And we all have that ability beyond what we give ourselves credit for. So I've shared the 3 key learning points of my journey. Motivation. You've got to care enough. Action. You've got to do something. And measurement. What happened from the action? But here's the mindset shift. It's not just being able to react to whatever adversity comes. It's also seeking it out. Yeah, actively seek out adversity, but in a safe environment. As an example, for my triathlon training, I do park runs, time trials on the bike. Now in those, I'm more and more focused at those instances in the race where someone's just overtaken me or I'm catching someone up. Somewhere where I can practice getting out of my comfort zone and getting used to that feeling of actually I've got much more in the tank than I thought. And yet it's in a safe environment, because if it all goes wrong, it doesn't really matter. So I urge you to find those situations. What next for me? Silver medal 4 months ago was fabulous, great. My new challenge though, how to get another 4 minutes to put me in contention for gold this year. And I want to leave you with a question. What's the next step for you on your journey to improve your life beyond your wildest expectations? I'm Hilary Briggs. Thank you very much.